We're gonna have to get the, all right.
Hi, good afternoon, Sangha. It's nice to see all your faces. We just have a few announcements. As always, we'd like to remind you about our Thursday Novena. You can send prayer requests to prayer@heartwoodrefuge.org, and they will be included in our Novena prayers. And the names are kept confidential. They're only read silently. We have our Final Friday Fun Night coming up that Maureen will talk about.
We have Final Friday coming up, the last Friday in February at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. This time we're going to do an untalent show. And you can actually do things you're talented at or things you're not talented at. And we're just going to enjoy each other's company. We're going to do something to entertain one another and enjoy each other's company. So please join us for that. The way you can join us is you will get a Zoom link when you register, and it will be on the website, Heartwood website, under retreats. And just scroll down and you'll see Final Friday Fun Night. And you register, it's all free. And then you'll get the Zoom link in your email.
Just another reminder about the 20th Outstanding Women in Buddhism Awards ceremony, which we will be hosting online with Zoom on March 8th, 2021. And that will be, let's see, I think that's 9 o'clock Eastern time on March 8th. And just a reminder to visit our website. You can make donations through the website, also through Amazon Smile, and share us on social media.
I think that's it.
All right.
Do share us on social media. That's always a great help. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.
How's the sound?
Is the sound okay for everyone?
I didn't hear
Okay.
anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hello, everyone. I guess we must have had some exciting revelations this week because we all have been looking at, we've been looking at that which is coming to us, the information that's opening up and being made clear. And we're so used to reflecting on where we need to improve that sometimes we can get a little bit imbalanced with that. And we just start, like looking like I'm so unworthy, I'm so unworthy. I have to say that that's usually not our first go-to place. The first place is usually we think we're so competent and we're so accomplished, and then the Buddha just starts whittling us down. And he's so good at it that we get to the place that I'm so unworthy. But it's a great place to be in because that puts us right where we need to be able to really make a serious inquiry and want the truth more than we want to fool ourselves. We want the truth more than we want to hold on to our ignorance comforts. We want the truth because there's something that awakens in us that we have a little glimpse of what we could be, a little glimpse of what is possible to come forth from us. And so I love the many of the Vajrayana liturgies and actual practices. So they're called dharmas in the Vajrayana tradition. The dharmas is not really considered that which we read. That which we read is that which we read. But the dharmas are actually considered the practices that we do, or the things that we do, the contemplations that we have when we're in meditation. So if I am sitting there, not being like imbued with loving kindness, receiving the loving kindness, and that just makes me feel so much better, getting a little bit of an awakening. That makes me feel so much better. And so it's not in that kind of way, but it's at the moment saying, what does it feel like to have boundless generosity? Oh, I think it feels like this, and then we start ascribing to ourselves those attributes, and we keep doing it until we actually shift the mind and actually have those feelings, have those views. And in that is another way that we transform. I think it's a wonderful way. The problem with a lot of the Mahayanas, why they call it the greater vehicle versus the Theravada, which is actually they mean the Hinayana, the lesser vehicle. The problem with that is if one has not had the right basis, one has not had their comeuppance, the one has not been brought low out of their delusion, there is the great danger of conceit setting in. So the first thing you hear maybe from Mahayanas is that, you're you say Theravada, Theravada, you're Hinayana, you're the lesser vehicle, the little vehicle. I'm part of the Maha, the great vehicle, because we are seeking enlightenment for the sake of all beings, not just for our own personal enlightenment. And right there is a stopper, and so every tradition has its strong points, and every tradition, because it's carried forward by unenlightened people like us, have their drawbacks, right? And so we can recognize that, but the more we step away from us imputing it on ourselves personally, the more we are able to step away, and we can see, the beam that's in our own eye. We can see what our hindrance is and what our blockage is if we don't take it so personally, and if we don't think that our way is the best way. So today I think I had 2 submissions. That's it. And I'm hoping that we have others. And I can share now because I've had a chance to talk to the person whose insight I shared last week. That was Dina in our Sangha, and she's a teacher, so she's not able to be with us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but she goes back and she watches what do you call this? Yeah, she watches the class online, is what I'm trying to say. And she always, responds, and she always answers. So I want you to know that although there may only be 25, 10, 15, 20, or 20 or 25 or 30, I guess about 30 of us coming together for the class, there are many more that in fact do tune in when they get home from work or when they have time, and they are joining us. And your participation is so important because it gives other people, number one, a sense of inclusion, so they're not just sitting in front of a talking head like me. It gives a sense of inclusion, and it also lets them know what others are thinking, and sometimes we think that our thought or our question or our conclusion, our observation is not worth much or worth sharing, but it absolutely, it absolutely is. Sometimes when it's in the, but I'll say when it's in the right context. And I'm just saying that because this is a teaching moment. Teaching moments come from real situations. I mean, when you make up hypotheticals, they don't really count, right? We don't learn a lot from hypotheticals, but we can learn a whole lot from real situations. And so I have a teacher's training course, the Dharmacharya program, and they have assignments that they have to complete and return. And I like the assignments to be private because I want you to tell me the truth about what you're thinking, about how you feel, putting whatever that teaching is into the present moment in your life, or putting the present moment in your life into that teaching, and those come from perhaps two different sides, and so there's a degree of honesty that I'm looking for in that. And there is also, I want there to be a sense of safety, that you don't have to be vulnerable to someone else looking at what or reading what you say and thinking something about you, and so I have all the assignments in private. But, the American way is that we like to share things, and put it out there. And, my concern about opening it up in that way, and I'm just saying this so understand something about the reasons why some things are done. And the reason for not opening it up that way is because after a while, the assignment will no longer be the deep reflection. It'll no longer be the deep reflection, sharing your innermost thoughts with your teacher. It'll become, how will I appear to my peers and to my colleagues? And so the writings then, the homework assignments then will be directed towards what everybody's going to see and everybody's going to read. At that point, there's no point in me wasting my time reading them because, we've lost a certain element of the purpose of practice. And so, I'm saying there are times when the sharing has great benefit, and there are times when the sharing should be done more in seclusion that allows a person to really rake deep inside. And sometimes raking leaves cuts, and we have to be able, in this sense, a cutter is a good thing, we have to be able to really go deep in that way, because some of what that needs to be removed is not on the surface. Some of it has to go, sometimes we have to go deep to get it and to draw it out. And while that may be a little painful, the fact that we can do it in privacy or in a space of safety allows us to make that deep cut and to drain that poison out. And so part of the wisdom that comes in as we continue to walk the path is to not just know what is a good thing or but is to know how to apply the right things. In one situation, what is just normally a perfectly good thing is not the most advantageous thing. And in another situation, something that is I don't know about whether that's a good idea or not, is the perfect solution or the perfect salve to apply in another situation. So wisdom or understanding, is like this. There is a consciousness about things. But remember, I hope, was this the group I was talking to? Where if you were on Sunday, then I was talking about the difference between perception, consciousness, and panya. or wisdom, understanding. And there are different grades. One just recognizes by external factors what is present, things that's so obvious to see, but really don't have an understanding of their worth, their value, how it can best be used or utilized. They just like see it, they acknowledge it. One who has a certain level of consciousness knows the value of something, but they don't always know the timing of something. Knows the value of something, but may not know the dangers of that same thing. Knows the value of something, but cannot see it within the totality of the experience. So one who has understanding, though, knows it by its external or most superficial ways of can look at a situation and from its most superficial place, can look at a situation from the me side versus the you side, can look at the situation from the you side versus the me side, can look at the situation from I have no dog in the fight at all, can look at the situation put up against the wisdom of the Dharma, and then know, come up with a conclusion about the best way to initiate something or implement something or to correct something or to shift or change. And so a lot of times this kind of wisdom brings suffering to us because it offends our sense of knowing. It bumps up against the conceit I, you know. And a lot of times when that happens to us in the real world, rather than say, I'm sorry, rather than apologize, rather than saying, thank you for sharing that with me, you know, I'll think about it, and then really thinking about it, not just finding the like nice words you're supposed to say so that you keep down conflict, but inside you see things. I don't mean that. I mean like when we're like really appreciate that someone shared a view and it was different than ours, and it's like, I need to think about that. I need to reflect on that. Or not thinking that I don't need to reflect on it because I have my view. Not being so easily offended is what I'm saying when someone else shares their view and their view is different than yours. You know, so one of our greatest issues we have present today is this whole how easily we are offended, and especially if one is trying to do a good thing, and as if the good thing that we try to do is the only thing that should be considered. You know, now this is grown-up talk today, okay? If this is the only thing that should be considered, you know, just because it was intended to be a good thing, or it was a good idea. It actually is a good idea. But if there is some objection to it, rather than get offended when that objection is explained, then to just try to look at it from that side, add that to what you already thought, and then maybe you can see a bigger picture. So a lot of times we have people who come and help us, and we appreciate it so much, you know, and sometimes it's not just coming to help but don't know how to help. It's coming to help and definitely know how to help. And that's so wonderful. But there is a line between helping and doing what's in one's own mind without discussing or checking, you know. And if that is brought up, and I'm saying this because you all tune in week after week, month after month, and hopefully those of you that are close will come and join and will help us. But please, I say, if you do something, but it's not what fits the best with all of the things that we know we have to do. When we say that, don't get mad and take your marbles and go home, okay? I'm saying it's a kind of it's a kind of conceit that can really hurt your feelings unnecessarily, is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to hurt your feelings, you know, because one thing that you want to do is not necessarily the thing that fits with the program or the objective. It's perhaps not knowing what that objective was. And when it's shared with you, now you have more information. You know, there is more sharing. It's not, well, then I'll just take my marbles and go home. It is one of the greatest deterrents to the growth of the Dharma that I have encountered. Good people, good ideas, growing in the Dharma. But take a no as a rebuke, and it's not a rebuke. It's just simply from a lot bigger picture. This piece can't fit right at this moment. And if we could do that, you know, that creeps up on us bit by bit. That kind of view, you know. I tell you, I was with a master at a temple, and I came there full of ideas. I know I was like God's man of the hour, sent to her. You know, she didn't speak English, and you know, she hadn't invested any time in knowing how we think and how we do. So I was sure I was sent there not to school her, but to do the things that she couldn't do. You know. And so I just said about it, you know, I felt like I was competent, you know, and I would do things, and she would jump on me all the time. Pani Deepa reminded me of it this morning. She would like she would crush me. So if I'm a little hard, I'm sorry, it's my teacher's fault. But she would crush me. Sometimes I would stay up all night working on something, you know, and I was not good enough. And then I finally end up with something that I thought was like perfect. And I've been up all night, and I put it on her desk in the morning. And she'd come back and say, "What is this?" And she'd like tear it up. I said, "You realize I was up all night working on that for you?" She said, "Well, who told you to? You should have been sleeping. You know, that's why you weren't at exercise this morning, because we get up and exercise at 5 o'clock. That makes no sense to me. You get up out of the bed to exercise at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I wouldn't get up. That's why I understand some things around here. And I know all the excuses, just saying, you know, because you know, all of that's in me. But you know, and I did not, I was really angry with her a lot because of that. Because then she come right around the next day and give me maybe the same thing to do or something similar. And like, of course, I was living there, so I had no choice. But to do it. It wasn't like I was at my house and I see her call ID and I don't pick up the phone, you know. Or it's easier to like just step out and say, I'm not doing anything if you're not face to face, you know, like in the community. That's why I'm speaking to you that don't live here. I'm not speaking now to people who are in the community. We already know that's part of our training. We can like feel misunderstood this morning, this afternoon, we have to still interact with that person and get something done. But that's how we overcome that tendency. But in our individualism, in our individual lives, in our own spaces, with our competencies, and with our, a recognition of our own pride, we get of our own abilities, we don't get a chance to practice these things. But you see, it's these little foxes that spoil the vine. It's these little things that keep us from maturing into sagedom, because these are the things that keep us tethered to the self. And so that's what practice is. It's practice is going to those places that scare you, going to those places that irritate you, going to those places that make you feel misunderstood or not appreciated. If I wrote down every time I felt not appreciated, I mean, that scroll would roll out to the street, but I have to I write it, but don't believe me, I write it down. I write it down in my mind, but then I have to sit there with meditation. What meditation does is it takes that eraser, and erases it. So the next time I see that person, it's like that didn't happen, Come to a conclusion about the matter. And in this way, one develops not a veneer, not a external toughness, but a different kind of they earn a capacity to be with situations and not take everything like it's personal. You see what I mean? And there's such a freedom that comes in that. Number one, things can get done. Number two, you're not feeling pain, the pain of rejection, or didn't like my idea, or something's wrong with me, because there's none of that. It ain't even about you. It's not even about me. That's what I'm saying. And that's how we get to recognize more and more and more that consciousness is probably not a noun, probably not a thing at all, but it's sort of like a process, the rising and falling of situations that come, the intersection of things produce a now moment, and we're just part of that movement. And so the moment brings no pain and no suffering with it. First, that's the first thing that begins to get rubbed out, the pain and the suffering. Then the Buddha says, that's good, but that's rubbed out. But then you have the elation and the joy factor, because that also brings pain and suffering. And so on the first end, the pain and the suffering of the rejection and all of that gets rubbed out. But after a while, the elation of I'm so special, I'm so clever, I'm so good, that gets rubbed out. And then you left right there in that middle way. So you can, if I'm too high, the Dharma in me can bring me down. It can humble me, it can bring me right down. If I'm too low, the Dharma in me can lift me up. So I stay in control of how I will be in every situation, or allow every situation to affect me. I can see that it's a momentary hiccup, or I can see that it's a long-term situation, and I can decide what I'm made of, what my mettle is. Can I go for the long run with this situation, or even with this person, or will this? And if I can't, I can acknowledge that I can't. I can find a way to gracefully back out. It's not your fault because I can't handle you. It's my fault. And maybe when I have more Buddha light, I can do better in that situation, or I can do better with that person. it's just, this is a kind of clarity in reality. And these are the joys of the Dharma and what I'm asking you to look for in this moment. So your insights don't always have to be happy tales, they can be, they're just a realization of something, but it feeds us. It helps us to grow and expand in our mastery. And it's actually that mastery of rubbing out the self, because that's where our freedom is and where the sting of suffering gets removed. So I want to know how many did their assignment. Can I see hands? Oh, this is awesome. Okay, well, so we're going to open up and for the rest of let me see in here. Oh, this is so good. I'm sorry, I'm elated at the moment. Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking then, and we're gonna share these, but I want to share, let me see, I'd like to share Dina's. Last week she gave us the 10 lines, and that was the basis of our talk. But in seeing the video, she did her assignment for this week, and her lines are: this is the past and the future and the present moment. Choose wisely. So I'd like to read it again. And I'd like for us to just feel in, and I don't want to add anything or any explanation, or don't want to add to it at all. I just want to read it again and just let that realization that she's sharing just wash over us for a few seconds. Just like a cooling water. Seeing the truth in the moment, and whatever benefit we take away from that. This is the past and the future and the present moment. Choose wisely. Thank you, Dean, for your sharing. And I had one other that came up, and I'll try to find that, because Sister something's going on. My computer is now speaking in a foreign language. So I touched something when I was trying to download them today, and I can't get out of this foreign language. If I go there, and now what happens? When I go to my Word document, I can't pull up. Okay. If you raise your hands again, so we can start with the first 3 people, if you can just know who they are and call them out, and then.
We did have everyone who wanted to share a poem put it in the chat and
They
we
did?
copy and paste them into the
Oh,
Word, so we can
how
just put them up
wonderful.
if you want.
Yes. Oh, from Lou Asturias in Spain to everyone.
Maybe they can, do we want them to read it?
We can do that.
Because then it'll have the.
Are they on?
Yeah, she's right there.
Okay, yes, if when your poem comes up, if you are here, would you read it? Did you have one from Anita? Yeah. Because I think she sent it to me. I'll steal it. You do? You have it? Great, thank you.
Map
Okay.
of the world.
Put it up though so that they can actually see it, read it as.
Map of the world. One place. Longing. Remembering. Glassy eyes. Knocking on doors. Waiting. Awaiting. Resting. That's all. Thank you.
And if you would read it again for us.
Map of the world. One place. Longing. Remembering. Glassy eyes. Knocking on doors. Waiting. Awaiting. Resting.
And if we could just sit for a few moments and allow those words to wash over us. Sometimes something will jump out for us. That's why we're sharing this so good. Awaken something deep in us. Reminds us. Thank you. Angela.
Climbing out when it's possible, not right away, feet kissing the floor.
And would you repeat?
Climbing out when it's possible, not right away, feet kissing the floor.
Thank you, Angela. Brian.
He said he was stepping out for a minute.
Can we come back to this? If he's coming back, I'd like him to read it. Regina.
This little chance. halt, open, a breath.
Would you repeat it again? Would you?
This little chance. Halt, open, a breath.
Thank you. Jim.
My plan is mine, done. Yours crowds in. Win? Lose? Suffering. Release. Such sweetness.
Would you repeat that, please?
My plan is mine, done. Yours crowds in. Win? Lose? Suffering. Release. Such sweetness.
Thank you, Jim. Suka.
Shock waves coalesce into fiery ball, about to burst within. Mountains of tears stuck, unable to erupt. Tremors deep inside vault, continuing, unabated.
Suka, would you repeat? Suka, would you repeat?
Shock waves coalesce into a fiery ball about to burst within. Mountains of tears stuck, unable to erupt. Tremors deep inside vault, continuing, unabated.
Thank you. Autumn.
Silent snowflakes dancing in circle, naked trees witnessing, a single bird's chant followed by its wings flapping in the air. Quiet joy appeared, dispelling sadness. Silent snowflakes dancing in circle, naked trees witnessing, a single bird's chant followed by its wings flapping in the air. Quiet joy appeared, dispelling sadness.
Thank you. Regina.
A habit, vast universe, let go, in the flow.
If you would repeat it, please.
A habit, vast universe, let go, in the flow.
Thank you.
Mantra, not yet ritual, a drum in my chest.
Angela, would you repeat?
Mantra, not yet ritual, a drum in my chest.
Thank you. Iman.
Gentleness, an easier way, warmth and caring, an invitation extended every day.
Iman. Repeat.
Gentleness, an easier way, warmth and caring, an invitation extended every day.
Thank you. Mm. Travel.
While in this moment, the past opens up with clarity. The self, the pull, the wanting in this awareness. There is space to be with it all.
Next, make sure you could hear the speakers in the room. If you could hear Travis just now, would you give him a thumbs up? And Travis, would you repeat?
While in this moment, the past opens up with clarity. The self, the pull, the wanting in this awareness. There is space to be with it all. Thank you. Brian.
I didn't have a poem, I just had a realization. Perhaps we bring more than just our DNA with us into this world.
Brian, would you repeat?
Perhaps we bring more than just our DNA with us into this world.
Alex.
The first example, birth is suffering. That seems bleak. And I'm always contending with heaps of confusion. Yet I also recognize freedom's taste as if I've known it forever. Good orderly direction helps my incredibly short memory.
Alex, would you repeat?
The first example, birth is suffering. That seems bleak. And I'm always contending with heaps of confusion. Yet I also recognize freedom's taste as if I've known it forever. Good orderly direction helps my incredibly short memory.
Thank you.
Sister Craig. Consciousness, craving, becoming. The cat makes me smile. Caught in the whole mass of suffering. Consciousness, craving, becoming. The cat makes me smile. Caught in the whole mass of suffering. Thank you. To someone else for you, I saw all the hands go up.
I didn't quite do mine in a poem format, but okay. Woke early to familiar feeling. Began to indulge it, and then try again. Familiar feeling of melancholia. Began to indulge it, and then realized, this is a habit of mind. There is nothing in it but emptiness. Chest opened, spaciousness radiating outward. Breathe deep, new moment, smile, gratitude.
Sister, would you read again?
Woke early to familiar feeling of melancholia. Began to indulge it, and then realized, this is a habit of mind. There is nothing in it but emptiness. Chest opened, spaciousness radiating outward. Breathe deep, new moment, smile, gratitude.
Thank you, Rachel. Elsie?
Abandonment, no longer daughter, sister, student, professional, lover, wife, mother, friend, walking the tightrope across the chasm to what infinitely remains.
Nancy, would you repeat?
No longer daughter, sister, student, professional, lover, wife, mother, walking the tightrope across the chasm to what infinitely remains.
Thank you. Do we have any other on this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Keeping the love strong, remembering our essence. We are loved beyond measure.
Would you repeat?
Keeping the love strong, remembering our essence. We are loved beyond measure.
Thank you, Maureen. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Yeah. Where is it? She sent it to you. She wrote another one for today that she read. Yeah. Last chance. Last call. So I would like to add mine. That flow while you were sharing yours. It says shout from the rooftop or whisper silently, no matter. Joy of one is joy of all. There is just one taste, the taste of freedom. Because in everyone's insight, I found my own. In everyone's questioning, I found my question. And recognized that there was a question. In everyone's joy, I found my joy. So I'm hoping from this, and I'd like to open up for, we have time, it's 1:24. Oh, time is so short. You know, I was from the Pentecostal sort. If it was all night, it was all right. So I just completely lose. I have no use for planning and timing. I'm so sorry. I've kept you over. But I hope you can see from this experience how important the songs of the Terrys was. Because it speaks of someone's direct experience, and there's a transmission that goes forward with that. And that wasn't really the purpose of the exercise, but sometimes it helps us to go back and understand something more fully. So I thank you all for your work this week. Are these posted? When we close off from this, they can't go back to that because the chat's closed.
Correct. We have them though, separated from.
We have them. Okay, great. So unless there's someone who has a specific objection, I'd like to send these to everyone because some of the joy of the Sangha is that we are all one. You know, and in each person's exclamation, if I could call it that, because I know something personally about you. You know, there was a leaping in my heart because it was a testimony of a shift, each one in their own way around a different struggle or different question or, you know, And so that's why it was so especially beautiful for me today. So I guess this one was for me. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing many of you on Thursday as community. We'll send these to you.
Yeah, we just need to add rituals and ceremonies.